Hey, this is Jason Thompson,
And Tina Decker.
and we're here to bring you the July installment of the Fundamentals of Strengths-Based Leadership. And we're going to start today by going through strengths, and then we'll dive into engagement. We will have a skit video for you in the coming days around engagement element 4, and you can expect to find that posted to our YouTube channel as well for your review. And with that, we're going to dive into strengths. As you guys are aware, we like Disney and almost everything about it. Merida is with us today to talk to us about where your power lies. And we just want to make sure you guys are clear and understand that getting to whatever destination you are pointing for is completely in your hands, and you have the power to get there. Sadly, there are no shortcuts to getting to those places. Hard work, intentional effort, and pointing in a particular direction are the ways to do it. Following through with the engagement elements and the strengths tools that we are giving you will certainly help you make you more effective and more efficient in getting where you want to go for yourself and for your team. And we're going to dive into strengths. This picture should look familiar to you guys, as it is something we've shown you in prior videos. This is the 21-step progression into the mastery of strengths. And at this point in your journey, you should be through steps 1 through 5, completing the blocks under understanding and awareness. The next quarter, we're going to dive into steps 6 through 11, which are appreciation and focus and investment. Before we get to those, we're going to take a quick review through understanding and awareness, and then talk to you about appreciation. This, again, is the kind of condensed version of that 21-step chart for you to keep track of your progress. You should have one of these in your prior homework materials, and I'll include it again in this set of homework. So the understanding milestone is just really starting to get a grasp of your talent themes, starting to understand the language of strengths and have it become not a foreign thing, but something that you're used to hearing and that makes sense to you. You should have the ability to speak to each one of your top 5, at least on a surface level. To master understanding, you've got to have the ability to recognize when you are actually seeing something that is occurring in front of you instead of making assumptions about people's behavior. This is also true about yourself, being able to understand when you're acting from a talent base and when you're not. Awareness is being very clear and specific about your thoughts and motivations and how they show up for you. Being very specific and clear about how your talent themes show up for and impact other people. It's having an intentional awareness of your talents appearing in the world, and being able to recognize them when they occur is critical so that you can repeat those behaviors in the future, and also begin to understand how you can use your talents on purpose to achieve the outcomes that you seek. The next 2 places we're going to go with your mastery of strengths is appreciation and focus and investment. Those are 2 different steps, appreciation being 1, focus and investment being 2. We're going to talk about appreciation today, and we'll get to focus and investment next month. So appreciation is really all about recognizing and leveraging the power and opportunities revealed by your talent. So we should be past the point of understanding them and being able to explain them to others, and now be able to see them doing good for us in our lives, and also being able to use them intentionally. And again, kind of with the entire strengths theme, we want to love who we are and be more of that, and let go of who we are not. Intentional focus on our powers and letting go of the places where we don't have power. Now we're going to talk about engagement. I'm going to turn it over to Tony.
So the headline on this is really whether you know the employees' expectations, whether they're top of mind for you or somewhere deeper down, they are seriously changing today's workplace. So in order to be able to meet the changing workplace, we're back to, again, a bit of a recap. So let's talk about the nuts and bolts of strength-based leadership. So make sure that engagement is a priority and constantly focus on it. Change your conversations. make your conversations be strength-based. Talk to people about what they're great at. Talk to people about what you're great at. Focus on strengths instead of weaknesses. Sometimes that's hard to do. You can certainly do that even in performance conversations. Help people see that they can use their strengths in areas where they're not being as successful as they would like to be. Be sure you have your team goals up where everybody can see them, and revisit and practice the 10 habits that are in your materials from last time.
And we'll also include those 10 habits in your homework for this month so that you've got immediate visibility of that again.
So we talked a little bit about the employee expectations. One of the things in the most recent Gallup survey that they found was that frequent communication with their manager is an expectation of employees. They want development opportunities. They want flexibility. They want autonomy. They want to be trusted to do the work. They want a coach, not a boss. They want stability and security. They want to be engaged and motivated. They want work that's meaningful and that ties in with their own values, and they want to use what they're great at, their talents and their strengths every day. So you can't just think about engagement one time. You know, engagement is really about working differently. It's about communicating about employee engagement. It's about holding conversations about engagements and about the individuals that you work with to determine how engaged your team is. You also want to hold the team accountable for outcomes and for at both the team and the individual level. That takes us back to last time, if you'll remember. You know, one of the things that we talked about is people understanding what's expected of them at work. And then kind of carve out time each day to connect with your employees. Super important for them to feel like they're part of your team and what's going on. So element 1, I know what is expected of me at work. So this was month 1, just as a little review. This is focus me. So if you remember, there were sort of 3 elements to that. The functional, which was just the basic. What is the role? Like, what does the job description say? What are the responsibilities and how are people measured? The second one is emotional, and it's really what are the expectations of the working environment in the organization? So think about your values, competencies, et cetera. That is very much in the emotional space, and it's great when it connects with how people naturally feel. And then relational is the team's expectations of how they work with each other. And it's something that sometimes we don't make explicit. It's really important to have that conversation and have ground rules so that everybody kind of knows what's expected.
Again, what we're really making sure we want to get at here is that day in, day out, people know exactly what they should be focused on and what their priorities are. And in the event of a shift, something else gets dropped on the plate, what is most important for them to be focusing on right in that moment.
Then element 2 was I have the materials and equipment I need to do my work right. So free me so that I'm not stressed about not having what I need to do my work. And the 3 pieces of that, the kinds of materials and equipment that people need, one is hardware. So they need the tangible things that are necessary for them to do their job well. It could be software. It could be a computer. Yep. So it's more hardware, right? It's a computer, it's a stapler, it's the right program that works well on the computer so that they've got the knowledge they need to interact with customers. They also need the software, and those are the systems and the processes that are in place, and that includes information. So that helps maximize productivity. When people don't know what's going on or they have questions about that and they're not talking about it, they start to make up stories, which will keep them from being engaged and keep you from really knowing what's going on. And then the humanware. So do you have enough staffing? Do you actually have what you need to be able to handle the demands of the job? Element 3, I have the opportunity to do what I do best at work every day. Know me. So we gave you a ton of tools to be able to do that, right? So this starts with what are their strengths? So we gave you an exercise to do with that. And it's just to help people get more familiar with what their strengths are and how to use them. So we hope that y'all have taken the time that you need to be very clear about what your strengths are, how they help you be successful. Once you've done that work, you'll be able to share that with your staff and help them to start seeing the potential that they have. And now we're to element 4, which is new. So, and element 4 is in the last 7 days, I've received recognition or praise for doing good work. Help me see my value. So again, globally, 4 in 10 employees strongly agree that they have received recognition for doing good work in the last 7 days. It's really not uncommon to see a large portion of people say that my best efforts are routinely ignored. And that may not be because they're doing a bad job. It may just be because the pace and velocity of work has created a situation where they're not told that they're doing a great job. So things to think about. Do you regularly praise all of your employees for their work? Is there an environment where employees are encouraged to recognize each other for work? You know, one of the questions that you can ask is who has been your cheerleader? Who has been helpful for you in the last month? And have you told them thank you? Do you know how each of your employees like to receive recognition? This is a really important one. We're all wired differently. Some people love the call out with everybody listening. Other people would prefer a note kind of slipped into their queue. So it is important for recognition to be effective. You need to know how it can best be received by the individuals. So the best managers always look for opportunities to recognize and praise people. It creates a workplace where they know their value and the emotional reward that comes with that. This is a piece where connecting with the bigger vision of the company is super important. So if people know that they're contributing to something that's sort of bigger than their job in that particular office, and they receive recognition for doing the work, that's very engaging. This is probably one of the easiest and greatest opportunities for engaging your folks. So there's kind of 3 things that you need. And notice that it repeatedly says in the last 7 days. And Gallup's research and others have shown that it takes that kind of repetition for people to really be engaged and feel appreciated. It has to be authentic. So you have to come up with something that they've done that you really appreciate that is unique to them. Has to be meaningful. So it's praise that highlights the value of the work and the person doing it. And it needs to be motivating. This is why you need to know how people like to be recognized. It should also be specific, right? You should say, when this happened, when you did a certain thing, I really appreciated that and it made a difference for the whole team, versus you're doing a great job. So the best managers constantly offer recognition. They build an environment where employees are empowered and encouraged to give and receive recognition and praise. The positive feedback helps every team member see the value of their work and the work of their peers. Outstanding performance is the result of authentic, meaningful, and motivating recognition that is individual, it's deserved, it's specific, and it's timely.
So the homework that you're going to receive this month should look very similar in format to the homework you received in prior months. We will again give you a more detailed, complete version of what you see on the screen here, but it will include questions to ask, what you should be listening for. It will also include another series of questions and also actions you can be taking to not just meet the minimum in the recognition question 4 space, but how to rock in meeting the needs presented in engagement element 4. That's all we have for you today. You can expect a video in the near future with a skit about element 4. And you can also expect, again, the homework to be posted on the Microsoft Teams channel. If you have any questions, you can feel free to reach out to Tana and I. Our contact information will be included on the homework. And feel free to reach out by email. We'll be happy to schedule a call to walk you through anything we can help you with.
Thank you.
Have a great day.